One of Donald Trump's most loyal supporters was the American countryside farmers, the people who voted for him in the cold, the rain, the dust, and the droughts. But they were not ready for this day. Today, they have been crushed directly by Trump's own actions, and they are feeling betrayed like never before, some even preparing to topple Trump. But before they revolt, they are desperately begging him to halt the tariffs that are strangling their farms to death. If he doesn't, China and the BRICS nations will bury American agriculture permanently, leaving America with no food security, no crop reserves, and no future. But how exactly did BRICS seize the fate of American farmers? How did an economic war turn into an agricultural apocalypse? And why are American farmers now powerless pawns in a game they thought they could win? In this video, let's find out. It wasn't a drought or a flood that destroyed the American Farm Belt. It was Donald Trump's own policies. Today, the average American farmer is 58 years old, saddled with $1.3 million in debt, still rising before dawn, to tend fields that now produce losses instead of profits. This isn't about bad luck or global trends beyond their control. This is about deliberate political sabotage. For generations, families invested blood and sweat into lands they thought would feed their grandchildren. Now those lands are millstones around their necks. With no buyers, no markets, and no lifelines, their properties have turned into financial prisons. What once symbolized American strength, the endless golden fields of the Midwest, now stands as a monument to broken promises, all because Trump believed tariffs could bend the world to his will, without realizing it would snap America's backbone first. By March 22, 2025, the farmers' desperation could no longer be hidden behind polite press releases or whispered complaints. Over 400 U.S. farmers, representing the shattered heart of America's agricultural sector, submitted a formal petition to the White House begging Trump to stop escalating tariffs on Chinese goods. Among them was Iowa soybean farmer Caleb Ragland, whose open letter cut through the noise. He said, "We are not political pawns, we are economic casualties." But the tragedy is even deeper than their words suggest. These farmers are not just losing profits. They are watching lifetimes of effort, generations of equity, and centuries of tradition dissolve into nothingness. The USDA's February 2025 farm income forecast projected a pathetic 1.7% growth for the year, a rounding error in a sea of debt. Meanwhile, over 32% of family farms are either in loan forbearance or outright default. It's being reported that U.S. farmers' bankruptcies rose 55%. They aren't farming for a future anymore. They are farming to delay foreclosure. Trump's tariffs have taken what was once a proud, resilient community and reduced it to a desperate, disillusioned army of economic refugees. However, while American farmers scramble to save what they can, China's economy has simply adapted and moved on without them. When Trump's tariffs first targeted Chinese steel and technology in 2018, Beijing retaliated with surgical precision, slicing into America's agricultural exports. Over $24 billion in U.S. farm goods evaporated from global markets in just a few years. Soybean exports to China, once the lifeblood of Midwest farming, collapsed by more than 60%. Fertilizer prices surged by 28%, diesel by over 40%, and equipment maintenance costs soared, choking farmers between rising production costs and disappearing buyers. Today, 3 out of 4 American farmers cite input inflation as a greater threat to their survival than tariffs or even weather. And while input costs ballooned, export volumes shrank to a fraction of what they once were. The result? America's Farm Belt has been downgraded from breadbasket of the world to a heavily subsidized liability, kept alive only by government bailouts and hollow political promises that ring emptier with every season. But it gets worse. Even as American farmers prayed for a miracle, global agricultural demand skyrocketed, and none of it benefited the United States. In 2024, global soybean demand reached an all-time high of 388.4 million metric tons, yet American farmers were locked out. Instead, China shifted nearly $30 billion in annual soybean trade away from the U.S., choosing Brazil as its preferred partner. It wasn't just about lower prices. Brazil, thanks to massive Chinese investments, built a supply chain that was faster, cheaper, and more reliable. New ports, new railways, and new trade agreements sealed the deal. By April 2025, 73% of China's soybeans came from Brazil, while America's share fell to 13%, its lowest point in 2 decades. America's farmers, once courted by global markets, now face full silos, rotting grain, and mounting storage costs they can no longer afford. As one Illinois farmer put it, "We are not feeding the world anymore. We are feeding the void." And Trump's war only fed the acceleration of that void. Meanwhile, the formation of BRICS Plus didn't just bruise America's agricultural dominance. It slammed the final coffin shut, nailed it down, and buried it 6 feet deep. In August 2024, the BRICS nations, led by China, Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa, signed the landmark Food Sovereignty Pact, a move that sent shockwaves through the world's commodity markets. On the surface, it pledged to boost intra-BRICS agricultural trade by 50% over 5 years. But in reality, it was a direct message to Washington. You are no longer needed. Under the pact, BRICS countries agreed not just to trade food among themselves, but to deliberately sideline Western exporters like the United States, replacing dollar-based transactions with local currencies. By early 2025, over $42 billion in food trade among BRICS nations was already flowing through yuan, rubles, rupees, and riyals, entirely bypassing the US dollar, once the undisputed king of global agriculture deals. Worse still, China's Pan-Asia Agricultural Exchange, launched just 2 years earlier in 2023, exploded past America's century-old Chicago Board of Trade, handling billions in grain contracts every quarter, all denominated in Chinese currency. São Paulo's new agri-trade platform wasn't far behind, clearing massive soybean and corn contracts directly in non-dollar currencies, erasing what little leverage American farmers once had. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, and current affairs impacting your lives. America didn't just lose customers. It lost pricing power, the invisible hand that once let Washington control global food markets. For decades, setting commodity benchmarks from Chicago gave the U.S. the ability to dictate food flows, stabilize global crises, and anchor its diplomatic influence. Now that power is gone, auctioned off to BRICS, while Trump was busy playing economic roulette with tariffs. Without the authority to set prices or regulate contracts, America is no longer a food superpower. It's just another desperate vendor trying to survive in a marketplace it no longer controls. Trump's reckless, childish tariff games didn't just hurt American exports in the short term. They permanently stripped America of one of its last true pillars of global leadership. The rest of the world has moved on, forging stronger, faster, more resilient networks without Washington. And the people paying the price are not the billionaire CEOs or the corporate traders who offshore their profits. It's the farmers, standing alone in fields full of unsold crops, staring across the broken horizon, realizing that the future they were promised is never coming back. As if losing China and Brazil wasn't devastating enough, America is now being openly humiliated on another front. The new agricultural Cold War, where Russia, another BRICS member, is winning, and the United States is collapsing without even a fight. In 2024, Russia officially surpassed every Western rival to become the world's largest wheat exporter, shipping out more than 62 million metric tons, an amount greater than the total exports of the US, Canada, and Australia combined. But this isn't just about volume. It's about how Russia is playing the game, and why America, under Trump's reckless tariffs and international blundering, is now hopelessly outmatched. Unlike the United States, which arrogantly assumed that markets would remain loyal no matter how erratic its politics became, Russia is weaponizing its wheat exports strategically. Moscow isn't just selling wheat. It's forging political alliances by tying food supply to loyalty. Buyers like Egypt, Algeria, and Bangladesh, once reliable customers of American grain, are now locking themselves into multi-year contracts priced in rubles, not dollars, severing their dependence on American goodwill. While Russia offers stability, reliability, and diplomatic respect, America under Trump offers only volatility, tariffs, and tantrums. Trump's endless tariff wars turned American agriculture into a geopolitical liability. Deals that once symbolized trust and security are now viewed as radioactive, too dangerous to touch. In 2025, while Russia's State Grain Corporation is guaranteeing deliveries even in the face of wars, sanctions, and market turmoil, the United States can't guarantee anything except chaos. Countries are not stupid. When it comes to securing their food supplies, they would rather sign with a stable autocracy than gamble on a country that uses farmers' livelihoods as poker chips in a never-ending political circus. The consequences are catastrophic. Washington's influence over the global food table, once seen as an immovable pillar of American power, has withered into irrelevance almost overnight. And no one feels the betrayal more bitterly than the American farmers themselves, watching helplessly as the system they built, the system they sustained for generations, is dismantled by the very leader they were told would save them. Even if Trump lifted every tariff today, it wouldn't save American agriculture. The damage is deep, structural, and irreversible. Brazil's production costs remain 22% lower than those in the Midwest. China's decade-long contracts with Brazil and Argentina lock the U.S. out of vital markets until at least 2033. American farm debt is at a 40-year high, while new farmers are disappearing, unable to afford the capital costs of entry. Subsidies, even if expanded, would merely slow the death spiral. They can't reverse it. America's global agricultural share has fallen from 22% in 2000 to under 9% today, and continues to erode. Nations once dependent on American food, like Indonesia, Egypt, and Thailand, are now embracing BRICS partners or building their own vertical farms. Saudi Arabia's NEOM project is constructing vertical wheat farms expected to produce 90,000 tons annually by 2026. America isn't just losing sales. It's losing its entire reason to exist in the new global food economy. Trump's tariffs didn't just cause a crisis. They exposed how little America had prepared for a future without guaranteed dominance. The final cruel twist? While small farmers collapse, America's largest agricultural corporations are thriving. How? By abandoning America itself. These companies are investing heavily in Brazilian, Argentine, and Russian farms, shifting their supply chains offshore to ride the BRICS wave Trump unleashed. They are leaving behind the very communities that built them, the very Americans who still believe in the lie that Trump was fighting for them. While Iowa families file for bankruptcy, Cargill and Archer Daniels Midland are raking in record offshore profits. The betrayal isn't just political, it's systemic, it's corporate, and it's permanent. America's farmers aren't just victims of tariffs. They are victims of an elite that saw Trump's trade war not as a national strategy, but as a short-term game to enrich themselves while the American countryside burned. Do you think Donald Trump does not care about American farmers, but only tech companies and billionaires in his cabinet? Isn't it true that now, American farmers have to unite against Trump, reach the White House, and let him know they are the ones running America? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on what if American farms no longer exist? Will Trump be able to manage the disaster that will come with it? Or is he simply clueless about it? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, changing world order, and current affairs. Things you need to stay informed. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.